short talk, and hopefully more of a demonstration. I want to mainly talk about breath work and get almost exclusively, if I can say that right, breath work, and dive right in. Here's the thing with breathing in and of itself. We come into the world, we take that first big gulp, gasp of breath, and from there on, we're left on our own, unless there's a unless there's an issue with our breathing. And if we're assumed healthy, we're left on our own in a breathing device and carry on. That might not be the best way to come into the world, um, which is why there's some approaches of more of a gentle birth, no smack on the backside, um, sort of nurturing a calm, centered approach of a child come into the world. And with that, the breath is a little easier. We adapt. It's not that big gulp. You know what I mean? Uh, Here's the funny thing. The creation of the universe is sometimes likened to the big breath, which is a beautiful way of thinking of the Big Bang, because we have the respiratory, we have the exhale of the Big Bang expanding, becoming the universe, creating everything that it needs, which is similar to our breath. When we breathe in, we have exactly everything we need to sustain life. Single breath, repeated. So it's assumed we all know how to breathe. However, trauma, stress, all kinds of things begin to affect our breathing even at a young age. So it becomes restricted. We end up breathing through our mouth in order to get more air in. We end up breathing high from the chest, ignoring the diaphragm, which is the actual, in conjunction with the lungs, the breathing function of the body. So we go through life losing our ability to naturally breathe, and we become, again, mouth breathers. In yoga, the saying is, we eat with our mouth, we breathe with our nose. In my yoga certification class through Yoga Body, they added on with unless exercising. And even then, we are better served to train breathing through our nose, nasal breathing, and saving the mouth breathing for that hard effort when we need to be sucking in air in every imaginable way that we can, because we're just trying to get that extra rep, or we're just trying to get that to the finish line. Now, there's some yogic breaths, pranayama, where you do incorporate mouth breathing for specific purposes. They're very few. If you watch powerlifters, if you watch most particularly people who squat, or the squat event, it's actually almost become sort of a pranayama, where you see them take in that sip of air through their mouth and then brace themselves, and then they squat. It's really a fascinating and beautiful thing to watch, that they've learned how to use their breath as athletes, as strength athletes, to their best advantage. Not very many people do that. Some of the southwestern indigenous tribes, I'm probably not saying that correctly, so let's just say Native Americans, and other people across the world, more of the native people across the world, would train themselves to nasal breathe by taking a single sip of water, a mouthful of water, and learning to run great distances without swallowing until they got to the destination, and then they would swallow. When you have a mouthful of water, you are going to exclusively breathe through the nose. I have been working with nasal breathing and exercising for a little bit. Before, I was just chasing reps, so I would breathe however. But of course, I spend most of my day doing some pranayama, doing some yoga work, doing things where I am concentrating on nasal breathing. When I walk, I concentrate on nasal breathing. When I even do my easy running. Now, if I was racing, I wouldn't give it any mind. I would just breathe. Starting out, don't worry too much about nasal breathing when you work out. Start learning to retrain the body to nasal breathe. Make it easy, make it gentle. If you stress too much about it, it just becomes another thing that you're working on. You naturally know how to breathe. You're just reminding your body how to do it. So that's why you want to be gentle. That's why you want to be kind. Don't turn it into a resolution. Don't turn it into a project. Set an intention that I will breathe easier, better, deeper, more fully, gently. Nurturing breaths. And it will happen. But it happens by retraining. So first what we're going to do is breathing from the belly, breathing from the diaphragm. Now, don't think just breathing from the belly, moving it back and forth that we're doing the breath. You want it to be the lower belly. You don't want your chest to move, or as little as possible. So you can do this laying down. Some people like to put a book or a magazine on their chest, and that way they can watch. If the book is moving, you're breathing through your chest. Or you could do the same thing. You could put the book on your belly. If it's moving on your belly, then you are breathing from the diaphragm. You want to do it nasally. Don't gulp in. Don't worry about taking a deep breath. Gently and easily breathe through the nose. Gently and easily exhale through the nose. You got to notice a theme. I keep saying gently. I keep saying easily. Because I want you to breathe gently and easily. The best way to stress that is for me to keep saying gently and easily. So what we're going to do, you and I, whoever uses, we're going to breathe. This easily turns into a meditation practice as well. So you're getting two things accomplished in one. And it does not have to be long. Let's start out with 10 easy breaths. I would recommend working in increments, let's say 3 minutes. You can even do 5 minutes. You can do 10 minutes. You can do 20 minutes if you want to turn it into a deep meditation practice. But you get a whole lot done from those micro sessions. 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 times a day will produce amazing benefits, and you'll be training yourself. We're going to do 3 little techniques. First off, hand on the belly before we even deal with the chest. And breathe in through the nose. We can close our eyes for this. Feel the belly move. Now, at first you may need to put a little concentration into it. Put your attention on the belly. It's rising. It's falling. Note, what I'm not doing, I'm not sucking in air. I'm not trying to expand the belly to its fullest potential. I'm not pushing the belly back. There's actually a breath for that. And maybe we'll cover it sometime, but not today. Today, back to those magic words, gently, easily. We gently, breathing in, breathing out. The hand is on my belly. Now let's put our hands on our chest. And we want the chest to move as little as possible. If it moves, don't freak out. Doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Just means the chest is moving. Focus on the belly, and the chest will start to stay still completely on its own. That's the basic practice. You can do that any time of the day. It reduces stress, it lowers the blood pressure, it helps the immune system, it teaches you to breathe through the nose, in through the nose, out through the nose. It teaches you to breathe from the diaphragm. Now, let's do 10 easy breaths. Here's another reason why we're calling it an easy breath. In yoga, it's called, you'll never guess, the easy breath. Not to be confused with the full yogic breath, which is a little more extreme, a little deeper. So let's do 10 on our own. We're going to turn this into a little meditation. Breathe through the nose, in, out. Feel the belly gently expand, gently fall. Note the sensations. Don't try to change it. Don't add anything to these sensations. Don't worry about the thoughts. Don't worry about anything. Just note belly rising, belly falling. Feel your chest. Make sure that it's still. This is a very Zen meditation. And in fact, Buddhist meditation, they will start you with the breath. And all you have to do is count to 10. And you can start with inhale being 1, exhale being 2. Work your way up to 10. And then eventually you get to just the exhale being 10. And you go all the way through. Let's do 10 full breaths. So in, out. That's one breath. We're going to do it 10 times. Eyes closed. Relax. Put your hands down. Relax the shoulders. Now, as you proceed, what you might notice is the breath is going to grow more subtle. You might not feel the belly move as much. There might be a pause in between breaths. Perfect. That's when it becomes that meditation. In the yogic tradition, there's the so hum. As you breathe in, the mantra is so. As you breathe out, it's hum. That's the natural mantra of the breath. And there's a pause, a natural pause. Don't force it. Don't make it happen. Just allow it to happen. Stay in that pause. And then feel the belly rise again. So, you can stay with that for as long as you like. But ride that wave of silence in between each breath. Only when it happens. Let the breath grow subtle by itself. Again, that's the basic practice. Now to turn this into a more yogic pranayama, prana being energy, technique, we're going to breathe in for a count of 4. We're going to breathe out for a count of 4. There'll be that natural brief pause, and we just ride that wave in and out. You don't need to you can keep your hand on your belly, you don't need to put it on your chest. Breathing through the nose. We're going to inhale for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 10. For a count of 4. We're going to do 10 rounds. Here we go. Eyes closed. Relax. Breathe naturally. Now, this is a little, I don't want to say forceful, but more intentful, because we are breathing in for a specific number count. We're not doing 4 seconds. The count is 4, and it's your count, but don't rush it. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Count it in any direction that works for you. I like when I'm doing teaching breath work, I like counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, because it just signifies the up and the down, the rise of the belly, fall of the belly. This is, when you're doing the 4 count with that natural pause, it actually equates to just about 5 seconds or so, which is considered widely to be the perfect breath. Resonant breathing. It is calming. It is, again, a form of meditation. Intentful. Really good. Slows the heart rate, lowers blood pressure. Now, we're going to introduce one more breath. Don't want to do much. There's literally thousands of breathing techniques, pranayama work, breath holds, all kinds of stuff, and we'll work up to some of it. What I find, the more I learn, the more I return to the basics. The genius of yoga body, which is what my teaching certification is in, as well as a yogic pranayama certification, is that everything's categorized. We're using the breath to achieve specific purposes, specific ends that we want to meet. So with that in mind, we have the easy breathing from the diaphragm, which we started with. We have the 4x4 breathing, which is a little bit of deeper practice. Third one, the last one that we're going to do, is increasing the exhale, which really switches us into the parasympathetic nervous state. We have the sympathetic nervous state, which actually sounds like the one we want to be in, sympathetic, but it isn't, at least not often. Sympathetic nervous state is the fight and or flight response. Better said, reaction, as we're not really responding, we're reacting to the stimuli that puts us there. We enter that through the stresses of everyday life. It used to be for running away from saber-toothed tigers or chasing a woolly mammoth or, all the other caveman stuff we used to do. Now it is for responding to traffic jams, yelling at a grocery store cashier, getting upset when somebody elbows us in a bar. What you're doing in a bar is beyond me, aside from drinking, which again is beyond me. All these, when your boss yells at you, when your spouse yells at you, when your dog refuses to go to the bathroom and you're standing in the rain, all these little things are the stressors that used to be, we'd shrug them off. Who cares? We got woolly mammoths and saber-toothed tigers to worry about. Why do I care how long it takes my dog to poop? And why am I standing around watching it? I'm a caveman. But now, those big major stressors are gone, but we have thousands of literally thousands of little things eating away at us on a daily basis that we don't know how to deal with. But we have the means, the breath. Breathing in for 4, exhaling for 4. Very basic. You can do it anywhere. It can calm you down, but it also perks you up just a little. This is why in the yoga body certification, this is classified as water breathing, meaning neutral. Doesn't bring you too far up, doesn't bring you too far down. It's does what it needs to do. If you need a little energy, or if you need it to come down a little bit. Sometimes we need to come all the way down. So we increase the exhalation, which puts us into the parasympathetic nervous state, which is the rest and digest mode. Easier state to be in. A very creative state, a very restful state, and it helps prepare us for sleep. So we can begin with just the 4-6. Breathing in for 4, exhaling for 6. Not too much greater than the exhalation isn't too much greater than the inhalation. It's a good place to start. If you really want to go all the way down, if you really want to help prepare yourself to go to bed, you do 4-8. Breathing in for 4, exhaling always through the nose for a count of 8. We breathe in. Takes a little more control on the exhalation, which is good. Teaches you how to control that breath. Sometimes we might want to use what's called ujjayi breathing, victorious breath. Ujjayi is a Sanskrit word meaning victorious. And we make that ha sound. It's easy to do when we're exhaling. It takes a little more effort constricting the back of the throat. No one else has to hear it but you. We're not trying to see how loud you can breathe. You just want that slight constriction. It's as if you are fogging up the bathroom mirror. But don't use your mouth. It's like liken the breath to a garden hose, and it's like putting that spigot, they're called spigots, right, on the garden hose to give you control, so it doesn't come all rushing out. So you can constrict in the throat, and it just helps. One, it's very calming. It fully and deeply helps you enter into the parasympathetic nervous state, and then it just gives you that little bit of control to help you get there. Don't worry about it now if it seems too difficult. Just breathe in for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 8. Again, you want to do it as part of your sleep hygiene. Half an hour before you go to bed, and it will really help you get to sleep. If you can't sleep, if you wake up in the middle of the night, just do it. Just breathe in for a count of 4, exhale through your nose for a count of 8 until you fall asleep. When you mess up, there is no messing up. Start again. That's why there's no messing up. No messing up in anything in life. Just start again. You don't mess up in a burpee set. You just get another rep. You just come back the next day, over and over and over again. Yoga is all about showing up. Guess what, guys? Life is all about showing up. That's it. It's a simple formula. Show up. Do your best. And your best is always good enough. If there was more to give, you would have it to give. So, our friend, it is what it is. Lewis is here. Good morning, Eric. Good morning, Lewis. How are you? I'm wrapping things up. I wanted to do a breath talk, mainly for our friend Gus Gainsborough. We were having a little discussion on breathwork and how to do it, as I've been focusing all of my burpees on nasal breathing, which cuts down how many reps you can get, which is exactly what I needed. I needed to, the stability in my shoulder was growing worse. I was chasing after reps. I was ignoring the foundation, all for the sake of one extra rep. One extra rep doesn't necessarily mean that you're fitter, that you're in better shape. It means you got one extra rep. That's good as far as reps go, but it's not always good as far as your body and your health and your well-being goes. I don't want to separate my fitness from my well-being, because if one goes, the other goes. If my well-being, meaning my immune system, my ability to sleep, my ability to relax, my ability to function pain-free, to do the simple things like walking my dog, spending time with my loved one, if that's compromised, how is that health? How is that well-being? And how is that fitness? It isn't. Not for the sake of just a rep. not for the sake of even 10 reps, maybe 20, maybe. So that's the focus. So this is for anyone who needs. That's why I want to keep it at about half an hour so people can watch it all the way through and then post some questions. The whole thing, I start with learning how to re-breathe, teaching ourselves breathing nasally, which is the only way to breathe healthfully. Breathing from the diaphragm, letting the belly gently fill with air, gently go out. Our friend Odom's here. Hey, Odom, how are you? And again, we know how to breathe when we're born, but because of stress and 1,000 other things, we forget. We start breathing through the chest, high up in the chest, which is a very shallow breath. The lungs don't function fully that way. You're only using a quarter of the lungs. When you breathe through the diaphragm, you are using fully. You're starting with the bottom of the lungs and the air is coming up. Always nasal breathing, always gentle and easy belly breathing. Odom says he is blessed to be alive, and how are you? And you know what? I can't think of a more perfect answer than that. As I am blessed as well. I'm blessed to be alive and to be breathing and to be here with my friends talking about breathing. It's such an essential practice and we forget it. We take it for granted that I can just breathe. However, how we breathe affects how we live mentally, physically, our immune system, our well-being, how we deal with people, how we handle stress. So when we learn to focus on that breath, always returning to it, returning to it, returning to it as needed, it gets easier. We start breathing naturally again. Our relationships improve. Our health and well-being improve. Our concentration, our energy, everything improves. Our spiritual well-being. Breath is prana, energy. The greater ability you have to draw in prana and to express it in a healthy and creative fashion, the longer you're going to live. Think of the animals that breathe the slowest and the easiest. Turtles. They live the longest. It's all about, I don't want to say managing the breath, because that makes it sound like work, that we're always keeping our focus there. It's not about just managing the breath. It's about just breathing easy and naturally. Odom says, yes, blessed with all the death in the family. I'm blessed to still be here. Sorry to hear that. I definitely know how that is. It's been a series of loss for me, quite some time. And you know what? Just like you said, though, being blessed to be here, that the death in the family helps serve to remind us that we're still here, that we're still breathing. And when we do, that means we have all the more time to care for the people that are still there for us. And that's what it's all about. Nurturing those relationships. Caring for those who cared for us at one time. Being of service. So, guys, with that 30-minute mark, I'm going to call it a day. If anyone wants to learn a little bit about breath work, how to do it, what it is, why we do it, you can start at the beginning of this session and take it from there. Anyone has any questions whatsoever, just leave a question in the comment section and I will do my best to get back to you and maybe even do a live session just to address those questions. So I appreciate it, guys. Odom says, yes, last 3 years I've lost some family members. Lost my uncle last Sunday. Have a blessed day. Sorry to hear about your uncle. Those connections, man, they hurt. Every loss hurts deeply. But we get through it. And we get through it by those who stay with us. So, bless you, my friend. I will see everyone later. Take care. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it.